It started with a silence. Not a speech, not a royal announcement, not even a leaked statement. Just silence. And inside the walls of Buckingham Palace, that silence was apparently louder than anyone expected. Because for days something had been happening behind closed doors, private meetings, cancelled calls, unusual staff movements, and royal insiders began noticing one thing that didn't make sense. Why was King Charles suddenly pushing so hard to reopen contact with Prince Harry? And more importantly, why was Prince William refusing to even entertain it? At first, it looked like another ordinary family fracture. But then came the detail that changed everything. William didn't just object. He allegedly made it personal. And according to insiders, what he said behind palace doors may have forced his father into the most painful choice of his reign. A choice between his son and the crown itself. Because this wasn't just about Harry coming home. It was about what his return would mean. And who would pay for it. For months now, there's been growing speculation that Charles has been thinking about reconciliation. Not for headlines. Not for optics. But because time has started to feel different for him. Ever since his health concerns became impossible to ignore, people close to the palace say the king has been increasingly reflective. Less focused on old battles. More focused on unfinished relationships. And at the center of that list, Harry, the son who walked away. The son who exposed everything. The son who, despite all the damage, Charles reportedly still sees as family before anything else. But here, where it gets complicated. Charles' idea of reconciliation wasn't simple. It wasn't just a phone call. It reportedly involved discussions of allowing Harry temporary royal accommodation during his next UK visit. A gesture. Small on paper. Massive in meaning. Because once you open that door even slightly, the public sees something else. Not just forgiveness. Possibly reinstatement. And that's where William stepped in. Hard. Sources close to the royal circle claim William viewed this as more than emotional weakness. To him, it was institutional risk. Think about it. For years, William has carried the weight of rebuilding trust after Harry and Meghan Markle left the monarchy and launched public attacks, from the Netflix documentary to the memoir Spare. Every interview, every allegation, every private conversation turned public. William was there, watching it all unfold. And unlike Charles, he never saw those moments as family pain. He saw them as betrayal. Permanent betrayal. So when rumours of Harry being welcomed back started circulating, William reportedly asked one question. What exactly has changed? And nobody had an answer. Because Harry hasn't retracted anything. He hasn't walked back the accusations. If anything, his recent interviews have only deepened the divide. Which made Charles' sudden push feel strange. Almost urgent. That urgency sparked another theory. Was Charles trying to repair this before it was too late? And if so, did William think that urgency was clouding his judgment? That's when the situation escalated. First, according to palace insiders, William drew a line so sharp it stunned even senior aides. He reportedly made it clear that if Harry was brought back into any royal framework, even symbolically, it would create a constitutional and personal fracture that could not be repaired. But then came the twist. And this is where the entire story changed. Because it wasn't just about Harry staying in a royal residence. It was about public image. William allegedly feared that any visible reunion would be interpreted as weakness by the institution. After everything, the interviews, the accusations against Queen Camilla, the criticism of Charles' parenting, the implication that the monarchy itself was toxic, to suddenly roll out even partial welcome. That would rewrite the narrative. And William knows narratives matter. Maybe more than anyone's. Because he's next. Every decision Charles makes now becomes William's inheritance later. Every compromise becomes precedent. And that's the deeper layer nobody talks about. This isn't just father versus son. It's king versus future king. Two men looking at the same problem through completely different lenses. Charles sees mortality. William sees stability. Charles sees a broken son. William sees a threat to the institution he has spent his entire life preparing to protect. And then came the moment insiders say changed the room completely. William reportedly told Charles that if Harry was fully welcomed back without accountability, it would undermine everything the monarchy had stood for since Brexit. And some sources claim he went even further, threatening to step back from key royal responsibilities. Not forever, but enough to make his point. Enough to show Charles this wasn't emotional. It was absolute. Imagine that moment. A father trying to heal one son, while risking the loyalty of the other. That's not just a family argument. That's succession tension. And suddenly Charles was cornered. Because no matter what he chooses, he loses something. If he reaches for Harry, he risks alienating William. If he stands with William, he may lose his last real chance to repair things with Harry. And Harry, he's still on the outside. Watching, waiting, possibly unaware just how explosive this internal battle has become. Or maybe, he knows exactly. That's the unsettling part. Because if Harry does return to the UK soon, as expected for the countdown to the Invictus Games, every move will be watched. Every location, every meeting, every absence. And if there's no royal accommodation, that silence may say more than any palace statement ever could. But if Charles defies William, if he opens that door anyway, then the monarchy may be heading toward its biggest internal fracture since Harry left. Not because of Harry, but because of what bringing him back would expose. And maybe that's the real question no one inside that palace can answer. Can a family survive when forgiveness threatens the very thing holding it together?